there, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is shadow and light. I have a dear friend, Lily Rick, who I want to say a year or two ago, we decided to exchange art classes in exchange for some of my services. And I'm well blessed to have had that opportunity because one of those opportunities caused my dear friend who passed away this past year to join the group. So it was one of the last times I got to see her. She was one of my bridesmaids and a roommate and somebody I dearly loved. And so it's nice when we create moments under which we can connect with those that we love, and we make space and time for that. You know, we really use time as a model to express to the allness what we value, because what you're spending your time on is what you value, because you have free will choice and can always choose again. And so one of the things Lily had pointed out in this class is that when it comes to art, it's important to consider that everything in the room that you experience, you're able to experience because of the shadow and the light. If you had only shadow or only blackness or only darkness, there would be no way to distinguish any item. You wouldn't be able to see, right? If you had only light, there would be so much brightness that, again, you wouldn't be able to see. It's actually through the ability to have the shadows cast from the light that we're able to flush up in the field the distinction of items. And so she was having me, which is something I now do and appreciate, just considering the shadow and light present in any given thing when I am considering creating art. And I found that to be a really profound statement, aside from, being beneficent to an artist, just as a mirror for life, right? At Earth School, in a dualistic realm, in a polarized realm, up, down, good, bad, right, wrong, left, right, we have this constant duality. In that duality, light, dark, we sometimes can choose a side, and we can avoid, ignore, judge, criticize, push against the other side because we want so strongly to identify with one aspect in the duality. There are ways that it can be medicinal to concentrate on the singularity or concentrate on the Trinity, to not remain in a constantly dualistic state, fighting with the self. But one of the ways we fight the self is we fight the shadow. Like shadow's not allowed. So when we're talking about shadow, let's take a minute to consider what are your trials, tribulations, as far as your own personal character goes. How are you doing when it comes to honesty? How are you doing when it comes to integrity? How are you doing with self-respect? Do you have that, or do you not keep your word to yourself, which can affect self-respect and therefore self-esteem and self-love? Do you have rituals of self-care, right? So to the degree that we attempt to self-destruct and annihilate the body or annihilate the emotions, to the degree that we have our own evolutionary work to do, to the degree that we find destructive uses of anger and fear and separation, to that degree, do we have shadow work to do, shadow consideration to do? And part of the shadow of ourselves is actually the opportunity that we're being given to evolve the self. There's a misnomer often in this realm that shadow is bad, right? It is the black void, darkness, blackness of space that gives us a place to manifest galaxies of light because it is a shadow and light realm. And so in that same vein, it is your shadow. It is your own characteristic shadow. What do you characteristically do that is toxic, that is poisonous, that is not helpful to you, that is not helpful to the ones you love, that is not helpful to the world? It's different for different people. Some people are toxically addicted to the physical world of form. They're addicted to their body, and they exercise all the time, and they constantly focus on money, and they wash their car, and they are not developing their mind or their heart or their spirit, right? And so even things that seem like they can be beneficent and positive can actually become a toxic shadow aspect of the personality, because behind it there can be avoidance or running from other aspects of self, or judgment of, not being fit or having money or having nice things, and judgments around the world of form. So when we look at shadow, it's important to note that it's all the shadowy things in our personality, in our character, in our matrix of being that give us something to do. As eternal beings, eternal energy cannot be created nor destroyed. You and everything you've ever seen is made solely of energy. It's made of atoms. Atoms are made of subatomic particles. Subatomic particles have 3 quarks. All I'm talking about is energy right now. And that's what everything you've ever been and ever witnessed in a mirror and everything you've ever looked upon has ever been, is just energy. It's all an energetic realm, right? And so you are at the helm of using free will choice regarding your energy, other people's energies, the way you'll relate to energy in this world. And energy is not good or bad. It simply is. Simply is. And so when we consider where evolution work stands, there's meat on those bones, right? When you are eternal, when you are something that cannot be created nor destroyed and will be around forever, I can't think of anything more fun to do than to have purpose, than to have focus, than to have a reason to be floating around for all of eternity. You know, what am I going to do with this endless, infinite attention? Well, let me develop the self. Oh, I'm the light of love, which is everything that ever is, was, or will be. Let me create an earth school realm where there's shadow and light, up, down, good, bad, right, wrong, so that I can have the idea and the concept of choice. And it is in the blackness of the soil that the seed is given the space through light, through watering, through nurturing of that seed in the blackness, and through the shadow, that we are able to bloom forth something that can be fruit bearing, right? But first, the seed has to sit in the blackness. And there's a misnomer that I've had that I think other two-leggeds have as well, that I've had for a large section of my life, that in which I think, well, if we are evolving, if we are becoming more evolved, life will get easier. It's just going to be all butterflies and rainbows and, giggles and tickle fights. And it's not that that can't exist in the process of evolution. However, it is the mud that blooms the lotus blossom. It is the pressure that makes the diamond. It is not the hugs, the love, the laughter, the things that are resonant with the core concept of what you are, the light of energy, the light of love, that really give you the opportunity to express the magnitude of who you be. It is the shadow, the unknown, the fear of the unknown, the darkened moments, the misuse of power. It is the betrayals. It is the hardships, the hurtships, the heartbreaks. All of those things have given you the opportunity to express your light into the shadow moment. And the more shadow you're given, that you're able to express the light of your love and the magnitude of your character, and you're able to not falter on your compassion, and you're able to not falter on your bridge building, and you're able to not falter on your awareness of unification with all that is and not fall into separatist ideas, and you're able to honor the diversity of life. To that degree, are you expressing more of your evolution in the living tree? What a grace. What a freaking grace. If we were all just singing Kumbaya for a whole lifetime, if we were all just having all of our needs met for a whole lifetime, for every lifetime, if we were all just laughing from birth until death, do you know how bored we would be? Do you know how bored we would be? The weird thing is that we think what we want is for all the problems to be solved. I know I have done this. I've witnessed other humans do this. I'm not necessarily saying we all do this. I find it to be relatively normative that there's this underlying concept that just when I get my health, my finances, my love life, my relationships, my familial life, when everything is just thriving, humming, buzzing, that I'm just going to keep it there forever and just balance it that way forever. And then I'll just be happy, ha 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 ha. But it's actually every tear of sorrow, every righteous anger and moment of rage that you've had that causes the sweetness, the nectar to be present in the fruit of the moments of your light of love, compassionate, caring, exalted graces in this life, you know? It is going without food that can help you to appreciate a meal. It is going without friends that can cause you to have a more reverent stance towards friendship and greater loyalty and greater profundity in your offering when it comes to the term friendship, right? It is going without prosperity that can cause you to be more reverent when you have it. I often find actually that it is the loss and the shadow that is the greater grace. For me, I always find it easier to eat really healthy when I don't have a lot of money, because I'll be like, well, I better get produce. Looks like I'm going to get a bunch of squashes and that'll be really cheap. Throw those in the oven and it'll fill me up, right? It's when I have lots of money that it's like easier for me to just be like, well, I can just have whatever I want. And then I might not make as good of choices because my choices become so unlimited. So it's easy to look at the trial, limitation, challenge, whatever that is, non-grace, non-privilege, that as if that is the problem. It's possible. Hey, here's an idea. Let's just in. It's possible that we don't have problems. What are we talking about? Everybody feels like my life's been riddled with them. It's possible that all you've ever been given are gifts. Gifts. And the universe just keeps giving you endless opportunity to express the magnitude of who you truly be. And because you're eternal, there's nothing that can threaten you in the process of you doing that. And the world can seem threatening and it can seem frightening. It's a hostile world, And I understand that. This is a free will zone, right? And so people may want to put their rules and be like, you've got to be this religion, you've got to be this rule following, you've got to be this way. A lot of the world is about advocating a stance in the duality. And no, you don't. We've had serial killers, murderers, rapists, liars, betrayers since the dawn of time. Guess what? Still have them now. So in a dualistic realm with infinite free will and now 8 billion people expressing in this multiverse or multiverses, you have still lots of opportunity to choose whatever expression you want. So whether you choose to follow certain rules or not, and whether you want other people to follow them or not, it will never change the fact that Earth School has always offered that which could be considered challenging, difficult, and hard, This is hard. I don't want to do this. This feels like a no for me, but yet it's still present. And the question is, who are you going to be in relationship to your no's? Who are you going to be in relationship to your trying hours? What perspective are you going to hold? Where are you going to turn your attention? It is my many trying and challenging hours that have caused me to constantly turn my attention to spirit. It's like, this is overwhelming on a physical, mental, and emotional level. Let me turn my attention to spirit. Let me turn my attention to the allies. Let me consider the power animals, the ascended masters, the angelic seraphim, divinity, gods, goddesses, singularity of the divine aspect. Let me consider my options of singularity or trinity focus in relationship to this dualistic experience, right? It is really the where the rubber meets the road for me are those trying moments in which I've been given the opportunity to harness my focus to be a little keener, a little sharper, a little more owl-like or hawk-like, right, or falcon-like, to where I have really keen insight into, what? Let's see. I've just had a massive betrayal from someone I dearly trusted and loved. What am I going to do with this piece of rotten meat that's been thrown at my feet? Oh, I'm going to remember I'm not a freaking trash can, right? And I'm just going to take out the trash, and I'm just going to choose again, and I'm going to be a more attentive steward to who I let in my field. So it gives us rich opportunity to have both shadow and light. How do you hold these beautiful gifts that you're given every day and night? You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube, like and comment there. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Amun.